The story of modernization is essentially a Western story. It starts with the British Industrial Revolution in the first half of the 19th century. By as late as 1945, modernization and modernity were an exclusively Western story apart from Japan. Every country was Western. And what's more, the West and Japan used modernization against the rest of the world, essentially. They colonized, including China. And in colonizing it, they deliberately held back its development. They prevented modernization. So essentially, those societies were caught in a situation of paralysis and stasis. And Chinese modernization? Well, it is extraordinarily different from the Western mentality. Chinese modernization sees its role, sees its place in the world alongside other developing countries to give the opportunity for developing countries to begin the process or advance along the process of modernization. So essentially, Chinese modernization you can think of as a public good for the developing world. China as a civilization did not have borders. Even today, China, I would argue, is primarily a civilization state and only secondarily a nation state. This is quite different from the West. And the important point here to grasp is some of the most fundamental characteristics of China, which probably most of us in some way or other take for granted, are really a product of China's civilizational roots. For example, the relationship between state and society, the role of the family, the pivotal importance of education, and many other things are the notion of the individual. The notion of the individual is very different from the Western way of thinking about an individual. All of these things are actually the template of China, which is a civilizational template, which has lasted all through these various different eras of China's history. Therefore, is embarking now on a different kind of growth. The period of high-speed growth is being replaced by high-quality growth. So China's going to look so different. In 20 years' time, China's going to look so different from what it does now. People will be living in totally different ways, traveling in different ways, doing different kinds of jobs, all the rest of it. But I leave you with a thought. Sure, China will be very different, but actually, the next China will still be China. Because the extraordinary history of China, that civilization expanse of thousands of years, has been hugely beneficial, not just for China, but for the whole world. And in different eras, it's given so much.